Today on Rat and Cat, a woman prepares to deliver gifts for children on horses marked with curses for her enemies. Welcome to Rat and Cat, where we search for those who've gone missing so others can learn how to survive. I'm Nakia. Today's topic is a little bit different than the search and survival episodes that I usually do here on Rat and Cat. In one of the first episodes or first searches I did for Austin Oldfield, many of my longtime viewers know that I met up with Ochena, and we didn't know each other, and the first contact with me was, "I think you're a suspicious man," and she was very defensive and didn't like me being around her camp. But after that, we got into a conversation and have since stayed in touch and become kind of friends. And so I've been trying to meet up with her again since then. And last summer, as I've told you before, we both had to evacuate for forest fires, her from up there by Indian Heaven and me from my home here in Skamania. And so we weren't able to meet up. But a week ago, last weekend, I was able to go up there to the sawtooth berry fields and talk with her. And what she was doing was preparing to deliver toys to children there in the berry field, the sawtooth berry fields. One side is for non-natives, and then there was a verbal treaty years ago that said the other side would just be reserved for Native Americans to pick huckleberries there in those fields. And so she's set up a equine therapy camp that she runs every summer up there, and I really respect that she lives up there all summer long with these horses and picking berries and kind of largely surviving off the land, but camping out at least. And there's a lot of folks that aren't brave enough to do that at all, and she does this by herself. And there is the other community there in the other campground with the Native Americans, and I just have a lot of respect for her in that regard. So our conversation took place while she was preparing to deliver those gifts.
Sabrina, you want to come over here and take him for me? I'm just going to take him over the fence there, and what I'm going to do is we're going to slide these down and drop the line, and the horses are going to step over. You'll have to undo the cinch a little bit. Whoop. Have it slide down.
So, Ochena, tell me what's going on. What are you up to?
Well, right now, I don't have a gate in here, okay? So I have to lower this hotline here. Then I keep my horses back in this pen so that they're safe. And we're gonna come out with these horses. You wanna step on that? Make sure it's all the way down. Okay, now just hold it there. Now you're gonna lead him out and go tie him to the side of the pickup. You guys look out now, get out of the way, please. There you go. Ho, 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 ho. Easy, it's okay. It's all right. You gotta keep your foot on that, sweetie, so he doesn't get caught.
What are you working on? Why are you taking the horses out today?
Okay, so today we're going to, I'm gonna shove this in so he doesn't get hurt. Today we're going to load up all this gear over here on these horses, and they're painted up and looking sharp for what we're going to do here today, because today we're going to pack in down the road here on the 24 road down towards Surprise Lakes and Cold Springs Indian Campground, and we're going to hand out all these gifts to people and put a smile on their face today. This is Ochena Native Outreach and Equine Therapy, and it just celebrated its 3rd year as a 501c3 and a Washington State licensed and registered business. And I just celebrated my 49th birthday and 19 years clean from meth and alcohol. So this is kind of an important camp for me this year. And we got lots of nice gifts to hand out to kids. Water canteens, we got a football canteen, there's dish towels, there's bandanas, there's lots of other stuff underneath the tent over here, the tarp, and I think that we'll probably have to get into maybe one of the other tubs and see what kind of things are in there, but we're gonna just stuff the packs full of whatever we have here. There's also shampoo and lotion and toothbrushes for people. And we're just gonna go around on these horses and put a smile on these people's faces up on this mountain today. So this is my gear. This here is a 1913 U.S. Army saddle. It's a McClellan, and I invested in it, and I'm going to modify this outfit as a pack saddle for my other horse. And then all this gear here, we're going to come over here and get things. You can start with that first.
So you've got your horses marked up here. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, sure. A few years ago, I had to leave down to Hood River to go get asthma medication. And when I got back, my little black Mustang here was missing. And he turned up missing for a whole year. And a year later, I discovered right here in this camp that my horse was alive and that somebody had him. And so, through quite a bit of enduring situations and obtaining an equine lawyer and lots of people to get involved to help, I obtained an address where my horse was located, and somebody from the Backcountry Horsemen volunteered, Faye Bradford and Shannon Newby, and we all ended up on the front page of the Skamania County Pioneer a few years ago, and a reunion with him in this camp. And so these markings that are on him tell a story about me recovering my stolen horse. The lightning bolt on his face goes across a terrible wound on his face. If you can see this ridge right here and this dip in his face at all on film, he had a pony halter on him when we rescued him, and it was literally growing into his face. And it was a band clear around his face here and clear down to the bone. He couldn't open his mouth. It took him a whole year to recover to be able to open his mouth to eat very well, and he had lots of nasal damage and things like that. So I painted this circle around his right eye because horses are 70-30. That means that one side is 70% soft and the other side is 30% stiff. And you have to work on that stiff side of the horse. Like a horse will generally look at you with one or the other of their eyes, see? So whichever eye they look at you with the most, you want to work on that side that they don't look at you. And so I put a circle around that eye to help him to be more perceiving of things that are going on that he doesn't maybe notice. And this lightning bolt coming from that eye is going across this wound on his face here, and it's a message to our enemies that wounded him and took him away from me and this ministry and the people that he's being in training to serve on the reservation with suicide and child abuse and things like that. They caused great harm and great damage, And that lightning bolt is a message to these people that you don't hurt my horse. Like the movie Hidalgo, you don't hurt my horse. And he's got hail markings on this side, all these spots. You can come around here and film this side here if you like, so people can see what we're talking about here. He's got hail markings like a storm, because this brought a terrible storm to my life when he was missing. And we know scientifically that children who suffer abuse also suffer damage to the limbic section of the brain. And they literally have a neural network meltdown from the chemical wash in there, from the adrenaline and dopamine chemicals going into that gland in the brain. And equine therapy helps people to heal from these types of things. And this is something, a path that the Lord has put me on, to understand this medicine that horses have in healing the human heart. Because humans have a hard time helping other humans to heal from trauma. And this horse was traumatized. He was captured as a wild Yakima Mustang at the age of 3 and ended up in the Toppenish stockyard, where he was nearly beaten to death with barbed wire and bullwhips. This horse was hobbled with 2 lines of baling wire on his hind feet, run through a PVC pipe. And they cinch it in such a way, and they run it inside that little short piece of pipe. The more that horse moves, the tighter it gets. And he had 2 really deep lines in both of his hind feet back there, clear to the tendons. And if you feel back there, you can feel those terrible scars that he had back there. And so he's really been through it. You know, I don't know exactly all of what they did. I just heard some of it. But I think they may have even taken a box cutter to him, and this is where I give you all a very stiff warning. This is going to become very graphic, and this is difficult for me to talk about. I feel tremendous anger, and I hope to God I never find out what men had a hold of this horse, because may the Holy Spirit prevent me from doing what I'd like to do to them. I think they might have took a box cutter to him, because all up inside the inner part of his thighs, clear to his sexual organs, was just sliced like this. Like they just cut him up. And you could count every rib in his body. He's got lots of lines on his neck here where they flailed on him with bullwhips and stuff. And in the light, if you can see right here, you can see one of his scars right here. I don't know if you can see that on film or not very well, but there's a scar here and there's a scar here. So these handprints are also to my enemies and to all this mountain, to tell them this is my horse's. This band is a coup mark to the family, that God helped me to find my horse and recover him. And this lightning bolt on his leg here is that I will put my enemies underneath my horse's hooves if they dare to challenge me one more time on this mountain. This is our Indian people's ways. You know, it's just who we are as people, you know. It's a way of being warriors, even if you're a woman. You know, us women, especially in the Blackfeet people, and I got some Peg on Blackfeet blood, Nez Perce, Flathead, and some Cherokee from Missouri, and German and Irish, and that makes for a real fireball of a woman, I'll tell you what. I keep joking with everybody, tell them I need a husband that wants a fireball for a wife. So, anyway, you know, I just feel that I'm here to help my people. I'm here to make peace even with my enemies. Because that's the way of God the Father and the Christian faith. I follow Yeshua HaMashiach in a tribal way. I'm a Sabbath keeper, and I believe that my people need to know him too. And it's my hope that through these horses and this outreach camp I do every year, that people will be ministered to basic needs like food. We also have bags of potatoes we're going to be handing out to people. And I got 200 pounds of donated potatoes that I keep up here every year to hand out to campers who are hungry and need some food. I have lots of spare clothing to give out to children and adults alike, and just things to help bless people up here and put a smile on their face. And I want people to know the God that saved me 19 years ago from meth and alcohol. And I still might show a little bit of scars like my horse here, you know, from what life has dealt me too. But God can use those things and those challenges in our life, and that's the message of OTA Native Outreach and Equine Therapy. Using these horses in places where we don't have any confidence, and we've had some happen to us, you know, that has affected our psyche and our behavior and our heart and how we can relate to people and socialize with people and have healthy relationships. So that is just my message to people, that there's hope, okay? There is hope in the most hopeless of circumstances, in homelessness and all of it. I've been through it all. And I'm talking about the gutters and sewers of the world here, people, okay? And I want to encourage you today, you listening right now, I want to encourage you that there's a mighty God who created everything that we see and everything that we know of. And it might not seem like it. This world is going to hell and it's going to get worse. Okay? Yeshua told those people who know him and love him and want to follow him and obey his commandments what's going to happen in these last days. And this ministry has a message about the last days and the end times, that there's an urgency to know God and to know the way of the cross and to stand in the shadow of that cross, because it's the only thing that's going to save you folks from what's coming. And I just want you to know that God loves you and he's got a plan for your life, okay? He had a plan for me when I wanted to die. And boy, I'll tell you, I drank my guts out and smoked meth out of a light bulb until I put myself into over 50 meth comas and 25 alcohol poisonings in 6.5 years, okay, people? So I'm going to tell you right now, there's hope. Believe it, there is hope. Praise God. You are welcome to slap him on the nose and tell him no. Don't do that.
No.
Go ahead and get a handful up there. When you're getting your gear on your horse, you know, you just want to kind of put it on nicely. Don't be rude to your horse. Treat your horse as your friend. Treat your horse like he's your friend, okay? Or they're your friend. See, and you don't need to do anything right there. Just secure it a little bit, because you don't want to just yank them up and get on. That's just rude to a horse. You want to go slow and be nice to them, you know. Make sure that they're comfortable and they're happy with what you're going to be doing to them. Horses are not tools, okay? They're not tools. Most people look at them like they're a tool. They're not a tool. They're a creature with emotion. Horses are a family type, you know, a herd type animal. And they want to bond in a relationship with people that are working with them, you know. People bring their horses up in the mountains and they tie them up to a high line, and the horses stomp and kick all the time and everything, and they yell at them to knock it off, you know. Well, it's because the horses are trying to tell you that they need to roll. They need to lay down. They just can't be tied up like that. And they want a job to do. You're bringing them up to the mountains, so they got to have a job to do. They don't want to just be, you know, kept inside and things like that. And see, he's already loosened us up just standing here, and we haven't even done anything yet. He's loosened up his front suits just standing there.
Yes, he does. I don't know, Sabrina, you might have to take some of these on the other side. We're getting full.
Ochena, you were telling me about these, the markings on this horse. Could you tell me about those again?
Oh, Medicine Water. He just got out of school. So, painted these lines down on him because he has been getting trained, you know. These spots all show the different things that he's had to go through, you know, and things that he's learned, and so he's able to have rider on him now, whereas, you know, I've been wanting to get him to that point, but I had to have somebody who's more capable than I am, you know, to finish him off. So I got him started real well, but I couldn't get him under saddle very good. I had been under saddle on him once or twice and bareback a couple times and things, but I needed to be safe, you know, especially after breaking my knee as bad as I did. And once
Did he throw you once?
he was playing, he went over a tire, and I just kind of went flying through the air. He didn't really mean to hurt me, and then he stood there with me the whole time I laid on the ground and screamed. And get your pad. Let's get your pad. And I'll be loading on this side too, because we want to load evenly. Stuffed animals, we could go on the other side. Toothbrushes, toilet paper. Here's a water bottle. Stuffed animals, toothbrushes. When we're loading the horse, we want to load both sides at the same time, try to give it evenly. Yeah, he wants to see, what am I packing, Mama? You're stuffing all kinds of things in me.
Can eat it.
And I want to know what you got.
You better give him something.
We've got toilet paper, we've got panties.
I didn't go with Ochena to the Native American campground there to deliver the gifts. It felt like a private sort of thing, and I didn't really feel comfortable with that. So I didn't go along with her. Also, my kids were with me and my wife, and the kids were getting a little grumpy since it was coming towards the end of the day. But I really appreciate Ochena sharing what she's doing with us, and I just yeah, if you ever get a chance to go up to that area, it's beautiful. I do, you know, suggest keeping in mind that the one side of the road is reserved for picking for Native Americans, and also people, there's a cross country, or people used to motorcycle through there a lot, and I guess the Forest Service has torn up the road. But one of the deals with that is there's actually Native American artifacts in that area, and camping sites that are archaeological sites. So I don't know that there's not anything really to find of value, but you can see shapes and stuff of what used to be there in some places if you know what you're looking for. But I just would say that, you know, respect people's privacy and territory there. But yeah, interesting, beautiful territory up there. And I had a really fascinating experience with some unusual nature sounds on the way down, and I'm going to save that for another episode of Rat and Cat here. Something that had my wife and I both really puzzled. In the meantime, I want to hear from you. What did you think about this episode? What do you think? How much are you comfortable with living up in the woods by yourself? What do you think about how we've changed as a culture, not living off the land like that? And would you be brave enough to live up there by yourself over a summer? And anyhow, look forward to hearing from you in the comments below. And please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time here on Rat and Cat.